Hi, my name's Zach and I'm a Ruby developer. In this video, I'm going to show you a quick walkthrough of a cool Ruby gym I built called Closest Weightlifting Gym. Now to get started and actually interact with this app, I need to go ahead and get this code locally on my machine. So I'll go ahead and clone my repository here, and I can do that by clicking on this clone or download button and then on this clipboard icon. Then from there I want to go into my terminal and actually type in git clone and then paste that in. What this will do is it'll clone all of that code into a folder here on my computer, and then to get into that folder I can go ahead and just change directory into Closest Weightlifting Gym. Now that I'm in the Closest Weightlifting Gym directory, I need to go ahead and make sure I have all of the dependencies on my computer and installed in this directory. So to do that, I use a little program called bundle, and you can run bundle install. What this does is it'll check the gym file and make sure that all the proper versions of any Ruby gems are installed here on my computer, and it looks like they are. So now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and open this code up in my editor, that way we can take looks at it. But since it takes a little bit to actually run this program, I'm going to go ahead and get it running by calling the executable here, and that executable is located in the bin folder, and it's called Closest Weightlifting Gym. This is going to kick off a series of events, and let's go ahead and take a look at that series of events. The first step is it calls let's go into the Closest Weightlifting Gym executable. So what it does here is it instantiates this Closest Weightlifting Gym command line interface class, and it runs call. So let's go ahead and look at the command line interface. So call, it does two things. It runs load gyms, and then it also runs main menu. Load gyms is what is going on right now down here in this terminal. It put out a message, and then it is running this Closest Weightlifting Gym scraper class method called scrape main. And this is kind of like a cascade of events here. So now I'm going to go ahead and follow the rabbit hole, this scrape main. Let's go over here to the scraper class, and in the scrape main method, we'll see it outputs a message here, and then it also fetches a web URL and converts that into a Nokogiri HTML object called index here. And then, so it runs this get state abbreviations on the index. So what that does is, if you look right up here, this goes through, and from the index page it looks for a select form element. And then in that form element there are going to be lots of children. These are going to be all the different options. So what it does is it collects them, so that means it's going to return an array of data from those child objects. So now that we go into this block here, so for each child, what it's going to be doing is it's going to be returning the attribute value. And in this case, it's going to be like a state abbreviation. It's going to be, for Florida, it's going to be FL, and etc. So now that we have those state abbreviations, and for each of those state abbreviations, what we're going to do is we're going to take each of those abbreviations, and then we're going to scrape each state page. So there's the scrape state page method. What it does is it outputs a method, as you can see once again down here in the terminal, and then it puts out another URL request to that specific state web page. Now, once we have that request, we save it as a Nokogiri doc called state doc, and then for this state doc we go through and search for all the list elements that exist. And it just so happens that on this page they do a list of each gym. So now for each of these list elements is going to be one gym. So now we have a gym row. Then what we're doing right here is each of these gym rows has a various amount of attributes associated with it. For example, this Alpine Weightlifting Club, it has an address, a street address, a city, state, zip code, a phone number, a club director, and club director name. But then, like this one over here, it has a 2-line address. Same sort of, city, state, zip code, phone number, club director name, but then also a club director phone number, which is actually the same as the gym. But anyways, what this part of the code is doing is we're running a case statement based on how much information the web page provides us. And then for each, so we're counting all the children that are there, and then based on the number of elements that exist for each row, the scraper processes the gym slightly different. So, and this is kind of a little bit ugly, but I'm not going to get into the deep code onto this, but basically for each one of these, the scrape from 1 or 5, it instantiates, it creates a bunch of new instances of gyms, and these gyms, are given all the attributes that are given to me, and then they exist within this gym class. Alright, so the scraper, does that for all the gyms and on each state page, and then it relinquishes control back to the command line interface, which is where we're actually at right now. So now we're at the main menu here, and it says, what do you want to do now? And it calls this options, and then it passes in this __ method. This __ method might be one of the first things I learned while doing this, and basically this is a kernel function, which you'd have to get onto the Ruby docs and look up kernel functions, but this is a placeholder which retains the name of any function, or retains the name of the function that is being run. So in this case, __ method, it would return this main menu as a symbol. So with this options __ method, it calls this options with a menu. So this is the menu name, so menu to S. So we're converting it from a symbol to a string. And then we have another case statement here, which goes through and, based on the different screen we're on, we have different options. And to just do a quick run through, I'm going to go ahead and show those options, and in real time, just using the application. So now we're here at the main menu. We can list by state abbreviation. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I used Florida earlier as an example, so I'll go ahead and use that again. All right, it looks like there are 88 gyms in Florida. Wow, that's pretty crazy. That's quite a bit. And so at this point, we're on a separate little menu here, and we can select gyms by number, or we can replay this list by pressing 2, which just simply takes that information and spits it right back out. I'm going to go ahead and select a gym by number. So let's go ahead and select a gym by number. Do that, I hit 1, and then it says select the gym by number. All right, let me just pick a random one here. All right, I'm going to go with this Team Florida Orlando. So that's number 71 up here. All right, so now that we have Team Florida Orlando entered, it prints out some biographical info: team name, address, director, coach, which seems to be empty, and then also a phone number. And then now you can see a couple different options here. Here we could open this in Google Maps, we could go back to the previous search, we could go back to the main menu, or we could exit. At this point, I thought it was one of the coolest features that I integrated into this command line interface, which is the Google Maps. So I'm going to go ahead and open it in Google Maps. So all I got to do is press 1 and then press enter. And there it is, once Google Maps loads here. So 2842 South Alafaya Trail. And yeah, it looks like it's probably here located in this CrossFit High Performance, and Weightlifting Academy. So that was definitely one of the cooler features that I built in there. I'm going to go ahead and show the code for that because that was fun. So open it in Google Maps here. So what it does is it takes in that gym object, and if that gym has an address, it runs a system call to open a web address. And then for this is just like a basic Google Maps query, and I'm interpolating the gym's address, and it runs and it opens in your default web browser. But if the gym does not have an address, it'll print out a little message that says it doesn't have a gym address, and then it'll go back to that, that gym page. Essentially, that just shows the biographical gym information. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and call this over. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a link in the comments, and I'll be sure to respond. Thanks. Have a great day.